won't be so loud. I'll be off the expressway in about 10 minutes.
We're good. It's not bad. It's not bad. Just with the thing that was open, that was all. I'm gonna make sure we good on the internet. Because I ain't good with this thing.
Which one? Hang out?
Yeah, I'm not really good with it. Okay, I think we live. Hold tight. Yeah, we good, man. We good. How do we sound at ATL World 2018 first? How we sound, bro? How we sound? Does it sound okay? Good and clear. Okay, praise God. Brother Eddie, thank you for your time. Welcome to the Real Estate Roundup. This is Chris Haskins' class. Welcome to the Real Estate Roundup. Today we want to bring you a tip. I'm hanging out with my boy Eddie Ray, aka Mr. Transaction. What's up?
Yeah, baby. How y'all doing? Getting ready to talk about an easy, seamless, free cash flow way of real estate.
For you, obviously you guys don't know, but Eddie had to be called. Eddie, tell us why you're in the car.
Man, I had to run to an Airbnb property that we have. We have an electronic lockbox on the door. That way, we don't have to go to the property. The guests can just access it, you know, just with a keypad, just putting in the code. And we can change from our phone. We're able to change the code and all that stuff. But for some reason, the lock was stuck. It wasn't working right, so I had to go over here and reset it because we got some guests coming in at 3 o'clock, so they can't check in until 3 p.m. And there we got some guests coming all the way from Brazil, so they'll be here for about 6 or 7 days. I think that's gonna pay out about $480, something like that. So,
$480.
uh-huh.
Is that just for how many nights is that?
I think it's for about 5 nights.
You gonna let us do a training with that one day, Eddie?
Yes, yes.
All right, I appreciate it.
That's a good thing. We actually, we was down in Orlando, down there in SeaWorld. And so I was talking to a friend I know down there that does real estate, Chris.
Yeah.
The guy's making $5,000 profit off the Airbnb down there in Orlando.
Oh, Jesus.
See, we're profiting about anywhere from about 1,200 to about 1,400 a month. That's after everything, all expenses and stuff like that. Now the
Oh my
property
Lord.
is not directly in the city, but it's in the city. The one that we have. Well, we got a couple of down here, but the ones we have. But if we can get like a little closer into the city, like right there in the heart of everything down here, I believe we can do probably about 3 or 4 grand too. So instead of just getting that little $200 or $300 a month, man, if you got a house in a good area, I would suggest you Airbnb it out. But the only thing you have to make sure, if you got an HOA, you have to check with them, because I heard a lot of HOAs been shutting them down. So
Really?
yeah, you want to definitely check with that.
Well, listen, let me do this. I'm gonna make a note. Good God, so much to talk about, Eddie. I'm like, I know I only got you for about an hour, so let's do 30 minutes of training and then we go to the questions. Is that okay with you?
Yes, sir.
For y'all don't know, Eddie is a part-time model. Yes, I see the pictures, nice sunglasses. He is a model, so if you want to hire him to come, he'll do modeling too. Eddie, my goal is to uplift the financial literacy of our viewers, of my mankind through real estate investing, and that's how Eddie and I, God and the universe, brought us together. It's really cool how success leaves traces, and success is you magnetize yourself. You're able to meet people, and I'm just thankful I've been able to meet Eddie. Just a positive guy today. Oh yeah. Don't forget, subscribe to our channel, guys. Like the content
Subscribe.
below. Yeah, make sure you subscribe so you can get all of our notifications. Like the content and make sure you comment what you would like for us to do trainings on. I know we got to get that Airbnb down, but we're going to do today sandwich lease options, Eddie. First of all, in your definition, what is going to be a sandwich lease option for you, brother?
My definition of a sandwich lease option is when you lease option a property with the right to sublease. So you put it on the contract with the seller. The seller allows you to rent that property out. Now, the difference is you're playing the middleman. So you're gonna get the check in between. So just say the mortgage payment is $1,000. You're renting it out for $1,400 a month. Well, you get to stay in there, collect the $1,400 a month, pay the mortgage with $1,000, and you keep $400 free, free and clear. You're not responsible for any repairs.
Now, when you say pay the mortgage, you're talking about paying the owner, right?
Yeah, pay the owner. If they have a mortgage on it, say it's $1,000. We prefer to pay it directly to the mortgage company. That's how we try to structure most of our deals, because we have had deals where some sellers didn't pay the mortgage. So we like to pay directly to the mortgage company.
Oh, wow.
And I heard it's a third party. It's third parties too you can pay to directly to, and they'll pay it to the mortgage company. But
A processor.
right, a processor.
Yeah, I've never used those either. Give me a typical picture. I was doing business with a guy the other day. He said, "Chris, what would that look like? What would that look like? Tell me what that looks like, Eddie."
What it look like?
Yeah, just tell me what it looks like regarding your seller and um with their typical mortgage payment, and just on in general speaking. Tell me paint the picture of what it looks like. They're paying out their mortgage. They've got a vacant house they can't rent out because of repairs they don't want to do. But tell me, give me a picture of what it looks like.
Well, okay. For example, a property we just did. This couple, they downsized, so it was a bigger property. They downsized to a smaller house, so they stuck with two mortgages. They didn't have enough equity to really sell it, and they didn't really want to rent it, but they had it for rent. So we approached them and talked to them about doing a lease purchase. They agreed to do the lease purchase. The property, I mean, it has a little wear and tear, Chris. Paint, need a little paint done to it. Carpet is okay. So, we always suggest to the owners. Now, we don't do any repairs. It's up to the owner. So, we request different things for the owner to do, like the carpet needed to be clean. So the owner went and cleaned the carpet. Now, we will clean the carpet, especially if it's a good area and the owner is strapped. But, we try to push all the expenses off to the owner, because technically speaking, they own the property. So it's really their responsibility. So we do a lease purchase with the guys, with the owner. We do a lease purchase with them with the right to sublease. So the property is rented out for about 1,800 a month. I think the mortgage is 1,500. So the owner agreed to let us pay directly to the mortgage company the $1,500, and we collect the $300 a month, because we're renting it out for 1,800. We collect that $300 every month, and it's really all profit, I would say, because once we put somebody in the property on the lease purchase, we make them responsible for all the repairs after 30 days. So, they're not calling us in the middle of the night for anything.
So
And we collect.
huh?
Go ahead.
When
That's,
you
that's
when you get the lease purchase from the seller, you're making the seller do the repairs too.
right.
Good God Almighty! I never heard of that ministry. That's a new one on me. So the lease, what is the benefit? So how are you getting the sellers on the lease purchase? What in my world, that's kind of my selling point on my sellers, because I will take care of the responsibility of the repairs, but you're not doing that.
Well, they have to get the property in the good condition. so we can get it ready. So after that, they're not responsible for anything. But before that, they are. Before we put it on the market, we want them to, we want them to do everything and get it ready.
Ah, so okay? Can you turn me down just a touch on your side, Eddie? You got any room to turn me down some?
It's pretty high.
I just hear it's feeding back. That's all.
Okay.
Just a little bit. It's not much.
What about now?
That's good. That sounds good. So you're telling me that's a great idea. The seller, you will be on the hook for the repairs moving on with the
Right.
seller, but you want them to get it ready.
Yes, sir.
I like that.
That's the best way.
You
Because
know
you
what,
got to
Eddie? I'm
think about
thinking,
it, Chris. We don't own
huh?
the property. You got to think about it. We don't own the property. So what if we spent all this money getting the property ready and the seller say, I changed my mind. Then you stuck.
You covered up the microphone, Eddie.
Oh, I'm stuck. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna mail you a selfie stick, dog. So you said what? You don't want to do work? Say that again.
So just think about it. If you just say if you went inside the house, did the interior paint and carpet for a seller, you pay to have all that done. Say you put in about 3 or 4 thousand, and then the seller come back and change their mind. Then what can you really do? You don't own the property. You have to go to court and try to fight them and get your money back. But that'd be money you lost. So we like them to get the property ready. That way we don't take any risk up front. And once we get somebody in the property, then we're responsible.
Gotcha. Eddie, I got to get to this question here. This guy Marcus, he's chiming in, man. I got to answer this question because he's actually a stupid question. I've got, guys, if you want to have questions answered immediately, you can send them through right to me. Eddie, would you mind if I can cut to this one guy, then we'll come back to our sandwich lease options real quick?
Okay, go ahead.
He wants to know, what do you do? I'm sorry, Marcus Robinson. He's from Laurel, Maryland. What do you do? How do you explain what happens if the seller dies when you have a subject to deal? What are you going to do when the seller dies? This is a great question because I know you got the answer, but what are you going to do when the seller dies on a subject to deal? You already own the house.
Nothing. Keep paying the mortgage.
Well, what if you got to sign some papers when they have for the seller, Eddie?
Well, you should have a power of attorney. And plus, when he dies, you have the title, so you can do anything. You still in control.
All right, Marcus, so you got that one. Let me tell you, brother. Let me go back up here. Marcus, when the seller dies, first thing you don't do is panic. Don't panic, dog.
Never.
Second thing is, huh?
I said never.
The second thing is you better have your power of attorney in that file. Because if they pass away, and the third is like, you know what, you keep paying the mortgage payment, nobody even cares, really. Nobody's gonna ask you anything, really.
No, they don't care.
All right, Marcus, I hope we got your question answered. All right, let's keep moving. Eddie, sandwich lease option. You're staying in the middle of the deal. Explain to our viewers when you mean what is being in the middle of a deal.
Well, being in the middle of the deal means I have it under control, and now I have the power to rent it out. Which means since I have the power to rent it out, I'm under contract with the seller for a certain amount that I'm gonna rent it for, and I'm renting it out for hire. So we typically like to get in for the mortgage payment. Now some sellers will negotiate, hey, I want, a little more, a little more. But the numbers still have to make sense where we're able to make a profit.
Yeah.
And I like to do, since it's free money though, man, you could do $200 a month. You could really do $100 a month, but I don't. That's kind of low on the sandwich lease option. Now, if it was a subject to, I would get into the deal and stay in it for $100 a month. But because you got the benefit of the debt pay down, but by it being a lease option, you don't get that benefit.
Mm-hmm.
So the only benefit you get with a sandwich lease option, you get the down payment up front. Because just say the seller may want, first month and a security deposit. So just say if it was a house that was renting for $1,000 a month, he would want, $1,000 plus maybe $1,000 for the first month rent, $500 to $1,000 for the security deposit. So you're in at 2,000. So you're only responsible to get a seller 2,000. You tell the seller, I should have the property occupied within 60 days. So I start making payments. I, I would start making payments within 60 days. In the meantime, you're marketing for a seller. You find somebody who have 5,000 or $10,000 down. You subtract that. You only have to just say they have five. You only have to get a seller 2,000. So you subtract that. You're making 3,000 profit up front minus marketing, cost. Now you're renting it out. You got to get a seller 1,000 a month, but you're renting it out for 1,300 a month. So you're standing there. You're getting $300 a month, and that's how you're in the middle. So you're in the middle of the sandwich. You got the buyer, you got the seller, and you're in the middle.
That hints the word sandwich lease option. I want to make sure my viewers are getting that. You have the buyer, you're the buyer on one side, and then you turn into the seller on the other side. So you're sandwiching yourself in between two lease options, correct?
Correct.
I've done that several times, Eddie. Matter of fact, one I did, I like it what you're talking about because you can put the real seller on the hook for some repairs, and you can make it be like, look, you can do it if you want. It don't matter to me.
Right. Yep. It's just free. It's free money, man. And there's plenty of sellers, that'll do it. Because really, man, they're especially because they're not in the real estate business. So the I just say just them thinking about have to sit there and rent a property out is probably like a nightmare to some people. Because
Heartburn.
everybody hear all the rental stories. So now you coming along saying you'll take over the responsibilities and everything. They feel good. Okay, woof. You just lighten their load up. And so a lot of sellers like that.
I like that. And my thing is, they're already in the boat rowing towards being a landlord anyway, and they're expecting to have vacancy anyway, and they're expecting to have to do repairs already.
Right. And so you come, enlighten them with the good news that you're gonna take on everything. You're gonna rent it out. You're gonna maintain the property. You're responsible for repairs and all that stuff.
Gotcha.
Man, you're like heaven on earth to a
Now,
lot
what?
of them.
I don't know. Tell me about the end buyers that you're subleasing it to. You're doing it when you're selling to it. What is the probability of them closing it as opposed to you taking it back and doing it again?
I would say it's probably about a 20% chance of them really buying it. Now, unless you put them in a credit repair program and hook them up with a good mortgage broker, and we do that also, but a lot of people still don't go through with it for some reason.
That is weird, and man, I've had people give me large amounts of money, Eddie, and just walk away. Have you seen
Right.
the same?
Yep. All the time.
Yeah. So the good thing about this is you win either way. You win if they close on it, you get your money. You win if they don't close on it and they move out, you get to do it again.
Right. And just repeat the process. And it's free money. And plus, Chris, I'm gonna be honest with you. I haven't, knock on wood, but I haven't had any problems like with lease purchase tenants leasing the property out and moving out. Once they move out, the property is still in good condition. Sometimes better because it's a different mindset. They're thinking about home ownership versus somebody who's thinking about just renting the property. There's two different mindsets there.
Yeah, yeah. So tell me about the price that you're buying for against the price that you're selling for to the tenant buyer, Eddie.
Well, we try to have at least 20 to 25% of equity in the whole deal. That's with the seller and raising the price on the tenant. Because we will raise it up. We'll see what the market is doing every year. If it's going up 3 or 4% in that area, we'll get that and multiply it by each year. So if they buy it on the second year, we're gonna want this amount. And on our front side, we want to get the seller. We need to have a little equity. They can get close to full price, but we need a little room in there. So if they do decide to cash us out in 2 to 3 years, we're getting paid again on the back end.
Gotcha, gotcha. So you're thinking about 25%.
Yeah, 20, 25%.
And you're getting the principal pay down either way.
Right.
All right. Now, how about the pitfalls of? I know I've had clients ask me, Sandwich, and I agree. Sandwich lease options may be a little risky if you're a seller. Say, for instance, you got your tenant buyer, Eddie, that is ready to go to closing, and your selling tenant buyer, the one that you were lease option, you're buying it from, wants to be a little funny and doesn't want to come to closing, or is getting squeamish about selling the deal when it's time for the end buyer to perform. Tell me a little bit about how that's going to look for you.
Well, I haven't experienced that, Chris, but because, like I said, most of them don't really buy anyway. Most people don't buy for some reason.
Yeah.
But I mean, they have a legal contract, so it's legal and binding. So they can exercise their rights and take them to court.
So would that be on, I just want to be as real as I can with our viewers, Eddie. Is that something that where you're going to step back in and kind of assist that, be the glue to make that go down if that were to happen? Because, a lot of people, their minds are wandering. They're always looking for what could happen.
Right. Yes, and we will help because we're right in the middle of it. So we got proof that people have been making payments. So we will have to intervene and get in the middle, and may even have to get an attorney involved.
Yeah, yeah. I have never seen it either, Eddie, but I do. I don't know, man. I just want to make sure people know that is, it's just like the subject to loan being called due. It is it is possible that it may happen.
Right.
Now, do you
It
think?
is a possibility.
Yeah. So you ready to close and everybody's ready to come together, then your seller says, you know what, I want more money, or God told me not to sell, or whatever. So you got the down. I mean, it happens. You got the down
Right.
payment on these
It,
people,
it
right?
it does. It does.
Well, I'm just like, let me ask you, is this an advanced strategy, or can anybody do this one, Eddie?
Yeah, anybody can do this one, man. It's actually like if you're scared to do a subject to or owner financing. I mean, this will be this is the last thing we look to do. We either to first. We can't because we want control. When you got control, you have control. So our first thing is to buy a subject to. If subject to don't work, then we want to buy owner financing. Owner financing don't work, then we will come with the lease purchase with the right to sublease.
Nice, nice.
But you can use a person can use this strategy, and just call for rents. Just call people with houses for rent. You have your little script. We have certain things that we say. Yeah, use that for rents and make you some money. If you're not scared to pick up the phone.
Yeah, I think a lot of people. I think the thing that draws them back is they're nervous about talking to sellers, perhaps.
Yeah, probably so. Everybody, some people don't like it. So if you don't like it, I mean, you got to hire somebody to do it for you.
Basically, you got to get over it. Yeah. All right, put your questions in the comment box here, guys, so we can help you get where you need to be, raise your financial literacy regarding real estate. Eddie, I'd like to ask you about. I'm thinking of the ones that I have done. I did have one of my tenant buyers trash a place. I did. Have you ever had it? None of yours trashed anything?
Nope. Thank
Now
God.
that was just one out of I don't know how many. I'm just thinking about the worst case scenario. So sandwich lease options, you're getting the lease options, stay in the middle, collecting cash flow. What type of down payment are you giving to a typical down payment are you giving to your seller? Because you're getting 5 to 7, 8,000 down from your tenant buyer.
From our seller, we try to get away with first month in a security deposit or first and last month. But some sellers, they say, "Hey, I want a little more than that." So we will partner with a seller, and we have went 50-50 with a seller as far as
Okay.
the down payment.
Okay.
But we're not going any further now. Like
Yeah.
the seller wants 60 and we want 40. 'Cause we had sellers that try to want to do it like that. Well, let me get 60%, is my house, and you get 40. I'm like, look, we're doing all the work and taking all the risk. So, and we're doing all the marketing. So,
Yeah, tell me about that.
most
Tell me a little bit about your general tenant buyer. Tell me about them. What is their story? What does their life look like?
most people let's say we're dealing with the 65, no, I'm sorry, 70 to 75% of people. They say only about 70 to 75% of people can actually, I mean, well, can't buy a property for different reasons. Credit
25%,
issue,
25% can buy.
right? 25 can, about 75 can't.
Now, when you
So
say
we
can't
been
buy, we saying you saying can't qualify for a loan.
right, can't qualify for a loan, and they have debt to income ratios. If you're self-employed or have your own business, most people write off as much as possible. So that can affect you when it's time to buy a property. You may have the income, but because you write your taxes off,
Eddie? Uh-oh. Eddie, you there, brother? That stupid phone. This is not good. Looks like I'm going to take over. All right. Well, hopefully Eddie will chime back in. Let me get to my questions here, guys. Hopefully I can help you with some questions. We'll wait for Eddie to come back. I'll do some questions while Eddie's gone. Be real. You sent me an email. I will get to it, my brother. Please just pray for me. Life has been a little crazy. Hey, what up, Waddell? Okay, Justin Fats, what's up, my brother? We got some questions on the lease option. What are the biggest risks? He's out in Las Vegas. What are the biggest risks when doing a sandwich lease option? I'm going to tell you what I did recently. I did one. You don't know. The biggest risk is what Eddie was saying. Like if you're buying on a lease option, right? If you're buying on a lease option and you're selling on a lease option, you never take title. Like with subject to, you're taking title. So everything falls on you regarding liens, judgments, IRS issues, any of that stuff. When you're buying a lease option, the deed of the title stays in the seller's name. So, what is it, Justin? If your owner goes out there and gets $1 million, or let's just say $100,000 IRS tax lien on his property or on his person, you're gonna have to deal with that. That's gonna have to come to light, or you have to pay it off or negotiate that. Say that went out there and crashed their car and somebody came after them and put a lien against their house. That is a major issue with buying on a lease option. That's why I would prefer you to buy on a subject to. The other thing is, remember we said earlier, is you never know if your seller, say, is 5 years down the line, you got your tenant buyer, you've been priming them, you've been cleaning their credit up. Your tenant buyer is ready to buy the property for 150,000. You got the property, you're buying it from your seller for 120. So you're gonna be making 30,000 lick, right? But your seller isn't making anything. So sometimes I have seen sellers get a little squeamish with that, where you might have to kind of strong arm them some, get them to take action, right? But that's going to be the worst case scenario, Justin. And hopefully, I like to say people do what they say they're going to do. Hopefully. All right, be real in the Bronx. One of the videos you said, if you are broke, don't even, if you are broke, don't even think about a buy and hold, because one incident can drain your pockets. What about buy and hold, then cash out refi? That's a good question, Be Real. Well, let me tell you how I started, how I failed miserably back in 2004. Back in 2004, we were able to get loans to buy houses. It was easy. You could just fill out the paperwork. They give you a loan 100%, maybe 97%, which was the worst thing for me to do because I didn't calculate repairs. So I was house rich, cash poor, and I had no equity to refinance. Now, if you're paying, I'm presuming, Be Real, are you paying cash for this stuff? Let me know if you're paying cash for this stuff, because that could be a big difference. If you're going to refi and take your money back, I think that is an okay strategy. But in my world, I don't even want capital. I want my capital in the houses working for me. I might want some access to it, like an equity line of credit, but I want the money in the house working for me instead of in the bank for me, because all I'm going to do is spend it. You know, the more money I put in assets helps me with my cash flow. Let's see if I can get Eddie to come back here. Hold on for a second. Let's send him another request. Sorry about that, guys. I know he had that emergency come through. Hold tight with me if you don't mind. Hey! I can't hear you. You covering up the thing with your finger again?
Are we live? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, don't cover up the speaker with your finger.
Yeah, man. Sorry about that. My phone overheated.
Oh, it's too hot. You got the air conditioning on high?
You know what it was? I had it sitting on the steering wheel and in the front of the car, and the sun was, beaming in through the windshield.
Yeah, you got to put it. Yeah, that's gonna happen, man. Well, let's go ahead. Darren, you were talking about you were right in the middle of saying.
It was a good one too. What
Yeah.
was it? Mm.
Oh, what I know what it was. What does your typical tenant buyer look like? We were talking about the 75-25%, Eddie.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so like I said, we're dealing with a bigger pool of buyers, which I love, because when you retail a property, you got only 20-25% of people. And so they want, top quality. They wanted the house damn near excellent. You dealing with a lease purchase tenant, come on, man. They really don't give a crap. To be honest with you, they want a nice house. They want to move their family in a nice house. Because you're typically dealing with people, most, with the family. And they want something nice for their kids.
Yeah. So you're telling me your pool of buyers is a lot greater with lease options.
Lease, yeah. Oh my God, man. We got a buyers list now with about one. Now it's over about 5 months of marketing, but it's about $1.5 million worth of lease purchase money as far as owner financing, because we market for owner financing and lease purchase. Man,
Yeah,
we have it's crazy, Chris. It
you mentioned
is
that.
crazy.
Yeah,
It
I'm saying the
is
same
crazy,
thing.
man.
You know what? I just put out signs, Eddie. Tell me a little bit. For me, I just put out signs. Matter of fact, see if I can find one of my signs, man. I want to get one of my signs for our viewers so they can see my signs, Eddie. Go ahead and tell us a little bit. While I get my sign, tell us a little bit about your marketing for you looking for your tenant buyers, Eddie.
Okay, so for your tenant buyers, it's simple. Now you can run ads on Craig. I suggest you want to do everything. You want to run ads on Craigslist, Zillow, lease purchase, rent to own. Most people understand rent to own, but it depends on the price of the house. I would say about 200 to 250. No, I say about 200,000 and below. Would market rent to own. A little higher, you want to be, say lease purchase. Because down here, $200,000 house in Atlanta will get you about 2,500 square feet, something like that. So pretty nice house in a nice neighborhood. And you want to put signs. We use a lot of bandit signs. We put rent to own on it. No bank. I'm sorry. Rent to own, no credit check. That rent to own and no credit check, it's gonna get that phone ringing. I guarantee you. But we put out about per house. I will have my guys put out about anywhere from between 50 to 100 signs. 50 to 100 signs, and man, that phone ring like crazy.
You
Easy
talking
rent
about
to own, no
you talking
credit.
about your signs.
Yeah,
This is a typical sign right here for me.
that's perfect. Yep,
One,
that's
two,
it.
1, 2. So easy rent to own, no credit needed this way, and his phone number, guys. Does yours look something like that, Eddie?
Yep, exactly. Now we do it a little differently. We just do hand handwriting. I'm sorry, handwritten font.
Yeah, I do that too. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that gets more phone calls. These signs, I've been using the same signs, Eddie, for 10 years, man. I need to get some new ones.
And they still work.
Yeah, they
It's
still work.
crazy. But I'm telling you guys, now if your phone gonna ring like crazy, it's gonna be a lot of people just calling because they see
Tire
it's
kickers.
for rent. So they think, oh, I can just get in there with a down payment and security deposit. So you're gonna get a lot of those calls. So what we do, Chris, we have them come into our IVR system, which is a system, voice recorded system. They leave their information. How much it asks them how much down payment do they have, how much they're looking to pay per month, and we say the address on there and all that stuff.
Pre-screening them.
Yeah, we pre-screen them because I'm telling you, if you're taking those calls, you're gonna be ready to retire to real estate the first week.
I
You're
did a
gonna get
video
so
on
many
that.
calls.
Huh?
I said you're gonna get so many calls, man. You're gonna get, oh my god. And we always hit busy intersection. Busy intersection, we may have 2 or 3 signs going down. Like, put one sign by the light, go down about 10 steps, put another one, go down another 10, 15 steps, put another one.
Yeah.
Especially if it's real busy, like on a Saturday and Sunday, it has a lot of traffic in that area. You want to, and it's close to the house, tear that area up.
Yeah.
Tear it up.
Nice. All right, let's get to some questions so we can get out of here. It's already 2:10. We only have a few this time. I guess that's unusual. Okay. How do you automate the SR? SR. I don't know where you're from, SR. How do you automate the payments to the seller and automate the payments from the tenant buyer?
Well, we have the tenant buyers. They can, they can do. We have some of them, mail the check in.
Do
We
you
have
use it? I don't use a servicer, Eddie. I just have them take it right to the. I just have them literally. I give them my bank account. I'm like, look, you need to deposit right to the bank.
right. I was gonna say too. We have them deposit into the account like that, or send them money. We don't take checks. We do money orders or cash your check,
Period.
or they can just deposit into the account, like
Yeah.
Chris said.
I just give them, Eddie. I'm just tired of. I don't. I took checks my first 2 years of business, and I have not taken a check since, my brother.
Do they
Tell us.
still do they still make checks?
They do. Tell us why you don't take checks, brother Eddie.
Because you might get.
For
You're
our
gonna
viewers that don't know about real estate rentals,
you may get a bad one, man.
you
Well, not
may.
not may. You're gonna get a couple of bad checks.
You
And that
will.
and that could be a stalling tactic they use to buy some time because you got to deposit the check. It's gonna take a couple of days. So then you got to go and try to file eviction after that and all kind of crap, man.
No way. We only take cash or certified funds. I'm done with checks, man. I don't take checks, period.
No, no, sir.
And don't be riding around. I love to say, you are either going to train your tenant or your tenant is going to train you, Eddie. What do you think?
Yes, sir. That's very profound.
So if they send you a check and you take it, they're gonna be sending another check. I just return it to them. I'm like, no, I don't even want it.
That'd be the worst thing you could do.
All right, let's see. Michelle from Houston. Hey, Michelle. Do you use your own contract or are you using a realtor? I better not be hearing anybody saying realtor. Do you use a realtor contract on either side, Eddie?
My contract.
Tell us why you do that regarding, I'm sure, because regarding your length of realtor contracts and the length of yours.
Well, the realtor's contract is going to be at least about 7 or 8 pages, and ours is only 2 pages. And we have our own language in there.
2-page contract, people. 2 pages. It's like a two-piece in a biscuit. We want to have it as simple as possible, right?
Right. And now I'm sorry. Ours is a little lengthy on the when we sell it on the back end.
On
We
the
have
seller
about
side.
yeah, we have about no, I'm sorry. On the seller side, it's only 2 pages. On the
Okay.
buyer, when we selling it to our end buyer, it's going to be about, I think it's about 5 pages, and we have that's the rental part. So it's actually a rental agreement, and then we have a separate sheet which is the option agreement. So it's
Tell me
two
about that,
separate.
Eddie. So we have the rental agreement for quiet enjoyment, and the option agreement for the disposition, how the property is going to get disposed of at the time when they want to buy it. Tell me, break that down a little bit.
Correct. So, one part is just the rental. It's just covering you while you're renting the property. So it's going to be pretty much the same as a rental agreement. So they're basically renting the property, but we're giving them the option to buy the property. So they will have an option agreement stating the terms, how long this contract is for, how much money they put down. This money is non-refundable. Again, this money is non-refundable. So if they decide they do not want to buy, then the money is non-refundable. So it's clearly stated.
Nice. Tell me about the security deposit on these deals.
Well, ours is considered a down payment. So they will be putting their down payment down. Because you say security deposit, then they got to give that back.
There you go. We don't want anybody misconstruing deposits. I just call it the option fee. We don't want anybody to misconstrue a deposit because a judge might say, well, a deposit means you get it back.
Right.
So we don't even do security deposits, or do you do security deposits, Eddie?
Nope. Down payment only.
There you go. Smart. Yes. For our viewers that may not know that. All right, let's move on. So, Michelle, we're using our contracts, and Brother Eddie can bless you, or I can bless you with that. We have to charge a small fee for our documents merely because we have paid a lot of money for them too.
Oh, yeah.
Do you do your lease option agreements through a trust agreement?
No, not if we're just doing a sandwich lease option. We do that in our corporation name.
Yeah, you're not on title either way, so it doesn't matter.
Correct.
But if you do own it, you better be buying it in the trust. Spanky. Let me ask you, how are you taking title, Eddie?
Well, since we're doing a lease purchase with the right to sublease, we're not really taking titles to a property.
I'm talking about when you buying properties, how are you taking title, brother?
On the lease purchase?
No, just to get real quick. I'm just curious personally, how are you taking title when you're buying houses in general?
Oh, land trust.
Trust, good
Always a land trust.
Yes. Maybe we'll do a training on that too.
Yeah, that's very powerful, man. Land trust.
Yeah.
I don't think maybe twice I purchased a property in my name. I think maybe 2 times out of 12, 13 years. But
smart.
The first time I didn't know any better. The second time I had to because I got a mortgage.
Yeah. So
then I switched it over to a land trust.
Good for you. So yeah, anybody for our viewers, if you don't have a question, just put some what trainings you would like for Eddie and I to do. Brandon Davidson, Winter Haven, Florida. What up, Brandon? I saw you guys do some video. Okay, cool. I'm trying to find out my county pre-foreclosure list. I am in a judicial state. Where do I get the pre-foreclosure list for Florida, Eddie? I don't know.
I would say List Source. List Source has all kind of lists. List Source, you can pretty much get on Google and pretty much find places. I think List Source has the list we use in Atlanta. We use EquityDepot.net, but I think they're only for Georgia. I think they only do Georgia.
Gotcha. SR wants us to share a court story about a lease option. Eddie, you got a court story? I know I got plenty of them. I'll go while you're thinking about one of yours. I had a lady.
Go ahead.
Huh?
Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, I've been to court and the judge told me you made enough money. I didn't know that the definition of enough. I don't know what that means, but I was trying to get a tenant out. I got a down payment from somebody, and they stopped paying rent. So the tenant sued me for the down payment back. They wanted to get their $6,000 back. So it's me and a partner. I've done this deal. So we went to court. I'm like, I'm suing them, trying to get them out of my house. They're suing me for the down payment because they stopped paying rent. People think they're gonna use that down payment to drag out for the, they want to use that $6,000 for 4 months rent or whatever it was. I can't remember. But luckily, the judge, well, luckily, either way, if you look at it, he didn't grant me any more rent. They stayed there 3 months rent free, and the judge said that I was able to keep my 6,000 because I made enough money off of this deal. So that's just, they give them time to get out. And I'm telling you, if you go buy the books, you got to get on a court date. Down in Georgia, it might be a little faster, but here in Virginia, even if you file to eviction today, it's going to take you 2 months to 75 days to get them out using the process. Go ahead,
Right.
Eddie.
I remember I had one with a tenant. They didn't pay rent, and like you said, they thought they could use their down payment money. But I'm gonna tell you with this one, Chris. I ended up moving. I was moving right, and I misplaced the lease because
Oh,
they was only in the property for a couple of months. Man, I misplaced the lease, and guess what? I didn't have the lease with me, and the judge ruled in their favor. So I had to pay that money back, minus
wow. How
yeah,
much?
minus the rent and all that stuff. I think it was about 4 grand.
Wow. Well, that goes to show you,
Yeah,
Eddie, you know
man.
what? Being a real estate investor,
Oh,
you got to be organized, dude.
yeah. And I was moving. We had just moved office, so everything was bagged up. Had a lot going on at the time. Boy, that was a costly mistake. Costly mistake.
Bet, bet.
From that day forth, though, it taught me to scan everything. Once it's done, scan it, put it into a file on your computer, man, and have a hard copy. So it was a
Nice.
valuable lesson I learned. But if I would have had my lease, then she would have had to get out because she wasn't paying.
Yeah.
And I had evicted another person before, a couple of people. But once you have that lease, like I never had problems when you have
Give
that
me.
lease because it shows the difference that they're renting and they also have an option to purchase.
Yeah.
And so it stands up in court pretty good. Stands up in court.
Yeah, you better have two different documents, right? We don't want to misconstrue or commingle disposition of the property with occupancy of the property.
Right.
How does the C Brown? Oh, am I okay? C Brown, where you at, C Brown? How does the seller normally handle the lease option buyers not actually buying the house? Are they normally willing to try again, or do they even know that they didn't buy the house, Eddie?
Well, some of them are, may want to just sell it straight up, straight out. Since the people been in there a couple of years now, it has more equity. So some of them will let you lease it back out. Some will just go ahead and sell it.
But you got your money already, right? So it's irrelevant.
Right.
Robert Ranson, are lease options, guys, make sure you put your city and your question. Are lease options and land contracts the same thing?
Mm, I think land contract is kind of like agreement for deed, if I'm not mistaken.
They're the
But
same thing. They're the
it's not.
same thing. They're the same thing. One
Oh,
land contract it's the same thing. Contract for deed, right? You have a contract, and when you're ready to exercise that contract, you go to closing. The problem with those is I don't want to go to the judge with a land contract. I want to have a lease because people know what a lease is, right?
right. That land
Luxury.
contract, I probably will only do that if they're putting out a substantial, big down payment. They come with 20 grand or 30 grand. Something that's worth 300,000. They come with 10% down.
You coming up the speaker? I can't hear you, Eddie.
I said, yeah, I probably wouldn't do a land contract unless they came with a big down payment.
Gotcha. Yeah. Luxury card store wants to know. I'm not understanding why the owners just didn't rent out the house themselves and pay a property manager.
Because they're not going to make any money. They're not going to really know. And you got to think too. Also, the property manager is going to cost them money. We're not costing them any money. We're taking over the responsibility of all the repairs and stuff.
Repairs is a big one, guys. You want to be the sewer that your seller dumps all of their problems mentally, physically, emotionally onto you, so you can just suck it on, take it on, and get down there and get down the street and get that down payment out of somebody.
Right.
Repairs. I'm gonna do all the repairs. They're gonna be like, what? And pay me rent?
Boy, ooh. And they
They,
feel good because you're a company, so they feel like you're gonna be more responsible and you're gonna do what you say you're gonna do
yeah.
versus a regular person that they're renting it out to.
Okay, stay polished airbrush cosmetics. Please do a video on land trust. All right, here in Tampa, Florida, we'll do that. SR. SR is in, where you at? SR in Pittsburgh. He wants to know, I heard a real estate investor does lease options through a trust. This way, if a tenant buyer does not buy at the end, the trustee simply assigns before the beneficiary of the trust to another tenant buyer. Yeah. But you don't have title though. If you don't own the property, it's irrelevant. I
Yeah.
personally do, when I do my lease options, Eddie, I do put them in the trust because I don't want anybody suing me personally because I didn't pay rent that month.
Oh, I like that.
If my trust is the tenant buyer, right?
Right.
And my trust doesn't pay rent that month, guess who the seller, if the seller is savvy, which usually they're not savvy, right? But I don't want the seller to sue me personally or my company because I didn't pay rent because I didn't get rent from the tenant buyer that I put in there. I can't hear you, Eddie.
I said I like that, Chris. I'm gonna start using that strategy.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So that way you don't have to worry about them coming after your company or you. That's a good topic there.
Yeah, I like that.
What is the difference? Kathy Bradford, what's the difference between a land trust and a living trust? I don't know. That's above me.
Yeah. I'm not sure about the living trust.
Kathy, we are not attorneys yet. Dude, I'm not an attorney. Eddie is not an attorney. I'm giving you informational purposes only. This is not legal or professional tax advice. Sorry, Kathy. You know what? We need to do that. You can go to one of the previous trainings. You can get attorney Jessica Siegel. You can get her email and ask her that. SR, what real estate transactions do you use a land trust for? Only for taking title, SR. You use land trust only for taking title, or you can do a lease options with that too. Okay, SR wants to know, how do you handle the payments to the owner if the tenant buyer stops paying, brother Eddie?
But we'll have to make it. We will have to make it, and we will have to. What we would do, we'll tell them the tenant moved out, and we have to find. It's our responsibility to put another tenant in.
And you can negotiate. I found people are very reasonable when they know that you're being honest with them.
Right.
It depends on me. For me, I'm like, look, the tenant's there. I'm working on a new tenant. You can either make the payment or we can talk about how we can work it out together.
Right.
Yeah, I don't want to lose the deal. I would definitely kick in on that. Stay polished airbrush cosmetics. Any specific wording terminology used when structuring sandwich lease option deals? What is anything, a few pointers you can give them for their lease options, Eddie?
We just we tell them basically we're going to take responsibility of making the payments, all the repairs to the property. But make sure you have your money before by the first or before the fifth, however you want to schedule it. But
Okay.
the main the main thing the sellers love that you're taking over responsibility of the repairs, the maintenance of the property. So that right there is like the number
Go.
one golden nugget.
Yeah. And with your tenant buyer side, when you're selling it, see, I think the wording the main thing we need to know is your down payment is non-refundable. You got to put that in there somewhere.
Yep. That's on the end on the buyer side.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, I guess. Okay, they're coming in now, Eddie. Good God. Uh, I know your phone gonna be going out for a rent to own. Kathy Bradford, for rent to own. How do you get the down payment from the tenant? How do you get the down rent to own? How do you word the down payment on the contract? That's what we're just saying. We just said that, Kathy. When they come in, you get a certified funds, and as your down payment is right on the option paperwork. It's not on the lease. You do not put the stuff on a lease.
And it's non-refundable.
Yeah. And do you have it where they can initial Eddie right there where they put it down?
Yes, sir.
Or nothing can be the question. Alabama. SR wants his lease option. Sure, we can give you that. Tammy, how can I connect with program in Ohio buying fix and flip? Okay, Tammy, we're not doing fix and flip today, but I have been blessed with things in a will that I want to invest. I don't know how to begin to get connected. If you don't, Tammy, I think you need to get educated first and hooking up with guys like Eddie and me.
Yeah,
Come in if you have some capital. Come in and work with people that are already doing deals up there first. If you got, I'm scared. Eddie can share his opinion. I get scared when people have a bunch of money with without the knowledge, and I'm not saying you don't have that.
that's a big. It's kind of better to have no money starting off in this business than a lot of money starting off, because you're gonna be so quick to throw that money out, and every little thing somebody say, "Hey, this worked," and you go buy that program. This work, you go buy that program, and next thing you know, you done bought a million programs, and you ever did anything.
That's right. Wow. You said a lot right there, Eddie. Wow. Tammy, get educated. I've got training. Eddie can help you with that. But find you if you have a local, it doesn't have to be local. We coach people around the country, but get educated first, please.
Please,
Oh,
please.
Jesus.
I always tell that. I was like, do you think a brain surgeon just go and start operating on somebody's head? Heck no. He got to get trained first. So it's
Mhm.
the same thing. You got to get trained. Once you get your training, then you go out. But don't go out before that, because you can end up losing a lot of money. Like, you could pay too much for a deal. Just say you're gonna try to get in a rehab it. You could pay too much for it, and then end up have to rent the property out. Then you
Wow.
can't make your money back.
That's
Or a
nasty.
contractor gonna beat you out of 50 grand or 100 grand.
We talked about that last week, Eddie. Tammy, go to our last training last week and talk about how much money Eddie and I have lost dealing with contractors.
Right. Please get
SR,
training.
yeah, SR, you up in Jersey. Do I mention in my lease option agreement? Don't forget, lease is one thing, option is another, brother. To the seller, if a tenant buyer doesn't pay me rent and the seller split the unpaid rent 50-50, is that something he can put in there, Eddie?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
We want to put a contingency. SR wants to put a contingency in his lease option with the seller that if he doesn't collect rent, then they'll split 50-50 rent on the rent.
Yeah, you can put it in with the agreement with your with the seller.
Yeah.
Just put it into the agreement.
Justin Fats, he's in Las Vegas. What would a typical target seller property look like for a sandwich lease option deal, Eddie?
I would say no more than 5,000 in repairs, 5,000 or less. And then another thing too, if you don't want to get into doing any repairs, just say the seller is strapped, and the seller is strapped on money. He can't paint the house. Say you don't want to take a risk and paint the house. Well, you can still put it up for lease purchase, and then just knock a little money, a little discount off of the down payment that your buyer gonna put down. So just say he's gonna give you 5 grand. You say okay. Then he mentioned, what about doing the paint? He said, well, this we say, well, we know people want to paint their own color, so we will discount it for you.
Gotcha. Good
Discount it
idea.
for you, and knock off $500 or knock off $1,000. You can paint it yourself.
Good
And
idea.
most likely, like, yeah, because they going on with the mindset of home ownership, so they're gonna paint it anyway. They're gonna do different things to the property. I
Nice.
just tell them, long as they don't paint them any really real bright colors, where we're gonna have to come in if they don't buy it and have to kills it and then paint it. So neutral colors.
Good. Have you done at least, I'm sorry, RPR Jackson out in San Fran? What's up, RPR Jackson? Have you done this on a lease option with a Section 8 tenant, Eddie?
No,
I'm
no,
thinking,
I
I
hadn't.
don't know. That might be a little, I'd be a little nervous about that, Eddie. I remember one time I got some money from a tenant and I didn't know that they had moved out. I was still getting the rent. Next thing I know, they went down there and told their caseworker that they moved out. And they sent me a bill for 2 months, 3 months rent.
Well,
had to pay the rent back, so I don't know. I would have to be skeptical on that one. SR wants to know, do you do DocuSign, Eddie?
Yes.
And you hold on to the documents forever, no doubt. Hey, Pew Amuli from New Zealand, what's going on? All right, we knocked everybody out, Eddie. Thank you so much, my brother.
Oh yeah. Thank you, Chris.
Anything else you want to leave our viewers for today before we get out of here
Yeah.
regarding Sandwich Lease Options?
Yeah. Go out there, guys, and make a lot of free money. Only thing you got to do is pay for marketing.
Free money.
Free residual income for a couple of years.
What about all of our viewers that don't understand? You know what's weird, Eddie? I think we have to get comfortable with getting paid for doing nothing. I think a problem for us is a lot of people don't feel comfortable for doing nothing where an entrepreneur makes money off of what we know and what we own for most of the times as opposed to what we do. Go ahead with that, Eddie.
Yeah, a lot of people. You just got to switch your mindset, man. A lot of we're trained in school. They dumb us down in school and all that stuff. That's a whole nother subject. But I mean, there's a lot of free money out here. A lot of people ready to rent these properties out. A lot of people need help, need you to come and call them and tell them they have this option. Because really, who wants to put a person in there who's going to rent the property and tear it up? So your
Yeah.
chances are better if you do a lease purchase, especially if the person want to sell the property.
Yeah, I've only had one so far. I'm sorry, two that tore it up. One woman gave me 8,000 and tore it up, but I had one last year, recently, Eddie, that tore it up. But they gave me a small down payment, and usually what I see is the smaller the down payment, the worse off the
Ooh,
quality, the worse off the quality
Jesus Christ, man.
of the tenant buyer.
You're you're absolutely correct.
What do you know about that ministry?
It's the same. The same. I had the same. I have had. I just thought about that when I first was starting out. I took like I think the property was worth 150. I was desperate to get it rented out. I think I took like
Desperation.
$3,000 or something. That's the worst place to be desperate, man. You get hit they they can smell
They
it. Say you
smell
got
it.
man. We took $3,000. Man, we had to evict the people in like 2 or 3 months. Man, don't do it, guys. Don't get desperate, man. Just hold out and get the biggest down payment as possible. Because I'm telling you, the person who put down the most money is going to respect the house more because they got something to lose.
That's right. That's right.
They don't have nothing to lose. All hell gonna break loose.
All right, I believe you on that, Eddie. Okay, guys, subscribe to our channel. Below, click questions, comments, put them below. What type of trainings do you want Eddie and I to do? And oh, Eddie, I'm sorry. Yeah, darn, I got so many. I can't answer them all. Eddie, what's your email?
EDIERAY, the number 8 at Gmail.
It's houses at gmail.com. Eddie, thank you. Yeah, once again, dude, thank you so much. Subscribe to the channel, like the stuff. If you guys just click a like here to help us bring more information to our community and raise the financial literacy. I'm sick of tired of seeing my people out here walking broke. I'm like, the word wants us to get paid. You know, I'm like, why can't we get paid too, right?
Right. It's a lot of opportunity out here, guys. You got to take action. Stop being scared and take action, man.
What's the worst thing that can happen? What is the worst thing other than the seller pulling out a gun and shooting them? What's the worst thing that can happen on a lease option, Eddie?
They sue you, try to sue you, but if you got the proper paperwork, I mean, there's nothing they can do. You got to have your proper paperwork. Don't make sure have a hard copy and download a copy to your laptop.
Gotcha. I'm gonna
Don't
start
take
doing
two
that. In the music
copies, man.
business, huh?
I said they want to make sure you have 2 copies because that cost me $4,000. So that was an expensive seminar.
Wow.
And the crazy thing, I can't believe it. Like I never did that, and I had done so many deals, and that particular one, why the heck I had to lose that one, man?
Murphy's Law. Murphy's Law.
Yeah. Hey, but you live and learn, man. I bet that won't happen again.
Yeah, I'm doing my scanning thing. You know what? When I was in the music business, we would have our tracks of music on a hard drive, right?
Right.
And I remember I was working with Teddy Bishop down in Atlanta, dude. Down at what studio was it? I can't even remember. It was anyway. He was like, dude, if you don't have your music tracks on 3 locations, they don't even exist.
Wow.
I'm like, you know what? Oh, you know, he was working on with Bobby and Whitney at the time. This is back in 2002, doing all these tracks, and he did the jam for Aaliyah. But he had the dude rolled in the studio with 3 hard drives, man. I'm like, why you got
Whoa.
3 hard drives? Back then, they were, you know, they were like
Real big.
Eddie, the man flew around the country with 3 hard drives, brother. So,
Wow, he was serious, man.
yeah, but he was making big money at the time. So I'm like, I'm echoing what you're saying about having stuff backed up, you know. So
Yeah, he was ready.
this dude was serious, man. He did that song for Aaliyah. He was working at the time. He did "I Miss You" for Aaliyah. Teddy Bishop, I remember back in the day. All right, my brother.
All right, guys, be blessed.
Talk to you soon.
Subscribe. Hit like. Peace.